Sharree.com, the #1 site to share and promote your YouTube videos and channel.
Bungie's probably one of the most influential first-person shooters gaming companies out there. It made games like Halo 3, which got $170 million in the first 24 hours of its release. But the question is, where did it all start? This is what the video is about. This is History of Bungie. Now it all started when Alex Seropian, whatever you call it, decided to make a gaming company, and he named it Bungie. But what was his first game though? The first game that he made was named Operation Desert Storm, and it went on to sell 2,500 copies. Well, you might be Corona, oh wait, it's not even that much. But wait a second, it's the first game of the company. I think 2,500 copies for the first game, I think that's pretty good. What about you guys? Do you think 2,500 copies for the first game of a company is good? Tell me in the comments. And I know the game was released for the Macintosh. Yes, this company was not from Windows. It was actually for Macintosh. But yeah, after the release of the Operation Desert Storm, Alex found his future programmer named Jason Jones. Jason Jones was also in the middle of an artificial intelligence course at the University of Chicago when he met him. Jason Jones also made a game himself called Minotaur on the Apple Macintosh platform, but it wasn't as successful as the Operation Desert Storm. So since Jason Jones wasn't even doing that good, and Alex needed a programmer, they decided to partner up. And they made the role-playing game named Minotaur: The Labyrinths of Crete in 1992, and it also went on to sell about 2,500 copies, same as Operation Desert Storm, and it's also the game that started to make an active community to the company. The game was also on the Macintosh again, and not on the PC. But Corona, why was he making the games on the Macintosh and not on the PC? Apparently the reason why they made the games on the Mac is because the market was more open, and Jones grew up with the Apple unlike most people did with Microsoft. And obviously, as most businesses started, they start on a low budget, because not everybody has $1 million to start their business and have like fucking 500 employees, and it would be great from the start. Well, not necessarily, because the employees may be really bad, but yeah, you know what I mean. And you know, they're using the low budget, but they're also not wasting any money, so there's no problem with that. As long as they would not go bankrupt, they would be fine. Anyways, Minotaur actually made enough money for the Nurse Project. Next project, not Nurse Project. I think this is the game that actually started making them really big commercial success and actually starting a good gaming company. This was also inspired by the very successful game Wolfenstein 3D, which I think is one of the first 3D games out there, but they left the Apple gamers hanging because again, Windows is mainstream. So Bungie, the smart guys, decided to make it on the Mac, like a Mac version, make like a Mac version of it, and they probably thought it was gonna be a success, and oh shit, it was. It was released in 1993, and that same year it got 2 awards. It got the Mac Adventure Game of the Year and Macworld's Best Role-Playing Game. So as you can see, it was a big commercial success in the Mac world. Oh yeah, by the way, the game is called Pathways in the Darkness, and yes, it kinda does look like Wolfenstein 3D, but on Mac, and different graphics. Now luckily, this new commercial success got them enough money to move into a new apartment. I think the old apartment, or the first one, was only 1 bedroom, and now it is bigger. They were able to get their first employee, named Doug Zupman, whatever. Doug Zupman joined in May 1994 and was supposed to bring support to Pathways, but instead become the Bungie's public relations person, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, the game not just brought attention to the company, but also taught gaming companies a very important lesson, and that is that gaming stories are extremely important, especially in FPS games. Because back then, before this, Pathways to Darkness game, the stories were just, just waves of zombies or something, and you gotta shoot them. That's it. But Pathway was innovated and brought something new to the table and changed FPS games for the better. So imagine, without that game, all today's games would be just, shooting some zombies and that's it. Basically like CODs, but worse. Even worse than Ghosts. But yeah, Pathways into Darkness was a very innovative game at the time and influenced today's games even by a ton. But yeah, as now the one-hit wonder, if that's how you call it, it's a freaking game company, not a band or something. Wait, can a gaming company be called a one-hit wonder? Tell me in the comments. They decided to make a sequel for the game as well, since it was so famous. But this time, it wasn't called Pathways to Darkness or something like that too. It was actually called Marathon. This was also a game that bring a new feature that is used today in every game, almost every game to be honest. As simple as it may seem, back then it wasn't in their games. This system is called Control System. It's basically where you can look up, you can look down, to the side, to the corner, or whatever. Yes, in the Wolfenstein 3D games, I don't think you could look up at all. Yes, I just looked and you could not look up or down or in the corner at all. Only way you could look is sideways. But yeah, this was another really successful game by Bungie. Fun fact, the game Marathon has so many orders, they had to hire another company to handle all the orders instead of them. It had tens of thousands of orders. And back then, Bungie couldn't handle even a fraction of that. The source that I'm using isn't saying what company it was, but it was a probably pretty decent large company. But yeah, with this very big success with Marathon, the not so one-hit wonder company came back with another Marathon and made a game named Marathon 2 Durandal. This is the game that actually got a lot of negative mail. The reason why is because this game was only on Windows and not on the original platform of Mac. So the loyal following of the company felt really betrayed, and therefore it got a lot of negative mail from the following or the fans of the company. And so in the end, the game Marathon Durandal 2 Durandal wasn't as successful as expected. But Bungie got really lucky, because if Marathon didn't do as well as it did, they would go bankrupt, or they wouldn't have, you know, the opportunity to make another project, and the whole company will fail. But luckily, since Marathon did so well, they still had enough money for another project, and this time they decided to do something new. Finally, a company who brings something new to the table, unlike COD. So this time, instead of doing an FPS game, they decided to make their first strategy game. And oh man, it was so successful for that time. The game was called Myth: The Fallen Lords, and unlike most strategy games at the time, the game tried tactical unit management instead of resource gathering model like other combat strategy games at the time. This game wasn't just very innovative and brought a lot of new things to the table. It was the first game that actually supported both the Mac and Windows platform. But yeah, with the very big success of Myth: The Fallen Lords, they finally gathered enough money to make the game they are known for today. Yes, it's Halo. In 1999, Bungie announced the game Halo. Now, what gave it a very big boost is that it was presented by Steve Jobs in Macworld 1999. It was presented to be a third-person shooter, but actually before release, it was actually announced that it would be an exclusive for Xbox as a first-person shooter instead of the third-person shooter. The reason why they accepted the offers from Xbox but not from Activision is because they know Xbox takes everything very seriously. But yes, when Halo got released, yes, it blew up like crazy. It did make a lot of money. Now, aside from Halo, we know that at least 99% of companies had one failure at one time in the span of the company. And yes, Bungie had one really big one. Even a way bigger fail than Marathon 2 Durandal whatever was Myth 2. Because you know, you gotta make the sequels for the ad revenue. Wait, games don't even have ad revenue. But yeah, this very big fail. Just before the release of Myth 2, they found one of the biggest game-breaking glitches ever. It was that the game could actually erase the whole player's hard drive. Now, the good news is the games almost were shipped. The bad news though, the company had to make a massive recall that cost them $1 million. Yes, $1 million lost because they had to make a massive recall. I think they're extremely lucky that they found it right before the games were shipped, because then the whole following would be mad and a lot of people would be jumping ship and they would get a lot of negative mail, and it would be all a fail, mail and fail. Now, after this massive fail of losing $1 million because of this massive recall, there was the concern of financial instability. In result, Bungie had to get a buyout from Microsoft. But yeah, the good thing is that the whole studio had to agree before they actually accepted the buyout in the Bungie studio. Some companies just do it without warning the employees or anything, and then everything goes downhill. But yeah, the whole studio agreed in the end, and they accepted a buyout from Microsoft. If you don't know what a buyout is, it's basically when another company basically takes a part of another company, kind of like Bungie hiring another company to do a job of theirs, but instead hiring Microsoft to do it so that, you know, they don't go bankrupt. So yes, after this buyout, Bungie decided to develop another game that would later on sell 6.5 million copies. Yes, it's a sequel to Halo, and it's named Halo Combat Evolved. Because of Halo Combat Evolved, the Halo series became one of the Xbox flagship franchises. Now, the next game Bungie made was the game that actually made the company really famous, really successful, probably one of the most successful at the time. The game getting $125 million in the first 24 hours of its release. How is that possible? And it made a new record in the entertainment industry on November 9th, 2004. Now, the next game, Halo 3, blew that out of the water. On its release date on September 25th, 2007, it got $175 million in the first 24 hours. How? But yeah, it's a very surprising how they can get so much money in just such a short amount of time. I think it's well deserved. But yeah, the next game from Halo, named Halo 3 ODST, announced at E3 2009, was released in 2010, and it would be the last ever Halo Bungie would ever develop. Okay, let's get a recap. Bungie started with 2 people, and in 2009, it had 165 employees. They developed a new office with 80,000 square feet. They also finally make the games on all platforms. But yeah, Bungie must be one of the most influential gaming companies out there. Probably the most influential FPS gaming companies out there, and one of the most successful. And I have a massive respect for Bungie because it introduced so many things. It is so innovative, or at least in the old days, but you know what I mean. But yeah, that was the history of Bungie. But yeah guys, if you enjoyed this video, want more videos like this, hit the like button down below. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, share this video if you enjoyed. If you think I'm underrated, probably not. But yeah, I put a lot of time into this video, a lot of research, and the sources that I use is Wikipedia, of course. So the link to the article is in the description, because you know, I don't do plagiarism, unlike some big YouTubers. Anyways guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Subscribers. My content was really cringy and really bad and very poorly edited. But anyways, today's topic is about Minecraft channels, and we're talking about the old school Minecraft channels. Titus Minecraft, Bayesian Canadian, you know what I'm talking about. And if you look at their channels, you can see that their channels are actually dying, or you can actually call them dead, because some of them have